You promised these children Krabby the Clown, but all I saw out there was Chibi the Cheapskate!
I swear to God, bro, Megamind 2 has got to be the worst goddamn animated movie I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, I'm burnt out. I'm already torched.
We hear so many stories about artists being burnt out and crazy overtime and working weekends. How often is that actually happening?
With the Flash, all the time.
The animation quality goes back to shit just in time.
So there's a very dark side of the visual effects and animation industry, and while there is a lot of pushback towards the bad quality animations that we have seen recently, I don't think that anybody is talking about the root cause of that. And so within this video, I am going to cover some of the bigger issues within the visual effects industry, and I think these issues need to be highlighted because they are the reason why we are getting garbage things and products like these. So without any further ado, let's begin. Everybody has seen the visual effects of the Flash movie, and let's be honest here, those visual effects are not as good. Like, the amount of money that they actually spent on that movie doesn't at all justify the amount of lack of visual effects that we see within the movie. And the biggest fault towards that is the crunch time. Even the visual effects supervisor of the Flash movie confirmed that the people working on the movie even had to work on their off days and weekends, and that is kind of ridiculous if you think about it. First of all, these artists are not going to get compensated for the amount of work that they are putting in, and ultimately the work that they have given will not look as good, and in the end the artist is going to be blamed because the work doesn't look as good, and because the work is considered art, so the artist is going to be blamed for no reason. The ridiculous deadlines within the visual effects and animation industry is what is holding back the visual effects quality nowadays. What I think is that most of the studios and filmmakers are just trying to push out as much product as they can. One of the examples is Invincible, because they are releasing one season every year, and that is kind of a big thing because they have to get 8 or 9 episodes every season, and animating all of those episodes, all of those frames. I think Invincible is hand animated as well. It is very hard to make those animations. It is very hard, and doing that in 1 year, it's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. That is one of the primary reasons why the animation of Invincible sucks. That is also the same reason why the visual effects of the Flash movie sucks, is because the artists did not get enough time to render out high quality animations, and they also did not get enough time to actually finesse and polish their work. I mean, let's be honest here. No artist wants to make their work look mediocre. We all want as much time as we want so that we can just polish the work as much as possible. Maybe some artists overdo it, but at the same time, artists do need a lot of time to actually finesse their work. And I think deadlines, while they can help to actually push efficiency, the ridiculous deadlines that we are getting these days are not helping the creativity at all. We all know that the animation quality of Megamind 2 sucks. And the reason for that is the exact reason that I'm going to mention right now, and that is the lack of money. So within the animation and visual effects industry, there's a downward slope, a downward race between studios, between artists, and they are just trying to undercut each other. And if you do not know, in case of Megamind 2, the animation was actually done by one of the Indian studios. Now, why did they choose this Indian studio when their previous studio was already good? Simple, because they were able to make the movie for far cheaper. I mean, in India, you can pay someone 1/4 of the money of somebody who is working in US, and you will still be able to make them work for the same project. And that is kind of ridiculous if you think about it, because when you pay someone less, you might be able to get something similar, but it's not going to be nearly as polished and high quality. The Megamind 2 movie suffers from this the most. I think that Megamind 2 movie had no budget at all. And not only the story writing, but the animation part was the biggest part that sucked in the whole movie. I think it is one of the other major reasons why we are losing a lot of quality in visual effects these days. I mean, look at the visual effects of the Snow White movie. The dwarves were fully CG, and I don't think that those dwarves look anywhere nearly as good as real actors would have been. Now, obviously, that is a whole political issue as well. But the main reason here is because the artists who might have worked on the dolls did not get enough pay and they did not have enough time. Like, simple as that. The movie was already being rushed. And let's not talk about Rachel Zegler because she already destroyed this movie single-handedly. Now, in the end, I do think that there is a lot of backlash towards the artists, which is not warranted, because no artist wants to make their work unpolished and low in quality. But at the same time, this whole backlash towards, the animation of Invincible or the Megamind movie or the visual effects of Flash is actually kind of in favor of the artists, because ultimately you, the audience, and these viewers are going to not pick these shows. Ultimately, these shows will suffer from not having enough viewership, from having a lot of backlash. And that will in turn favor the artists, because the studios will learn the lesson that they have to give their artists enough time and enough pay for some high quality, decent animations. Like, we have kind of seen a downward slope in terms of visual effects. The animation and visual effects of the older movies are now better than the current standards. Kind of ridiculous if you think about it. And the reason for that is simple, because the artists back then got enough time to work on their project, and they had passion for that project. They had enough time for that project, and they were compensated enough for that project. And all of these things are kind of suffering today. So yeah, that was my take on this video. I think that the visual effects industry is not all rainbows and sunshines as it looks from the outside sometimes. And yes, animation is fun, but it is time taking and hard. And I hope that every artist gets the enough amount of compensation that they deserve, and that they get enough time as well. So if you have any suggestions or opinions, leave them down in the comment below, and I'll see you on the next one.